The Wild Boars of Madness. Chapter 15. Wild Boars.
The discovery of these 4 or 5 wild boars eventually entering a fallen leaf valley brought a sigh of relief to Liang. In his heart, he had already concluded that these wild boars were his beloved spotted pig, Flowers. However, soon after, a drumbeat of apprehension echoed in his heart. The Valley of Fallen Leaves, it was a one-way trip to this eerie place. At the entrance of the valley, darkness engulfed everything. Towering rocks and cliffs adorned with withered vines framed the scene. A sprinkle of starlight dusted the snow, extending all the way to the zenith, with snow-clad peaks on either side. The ground at the valley's mouth was covered in fallen leaves, forming an increasingly higher pile. In the moonlight's last gleam, it reached a height estimated to be more than a person, beyond which lay a black abyss. Liang hoped to find pig tracks in the snow-covered leaf piles, indicating that Flowers had ventured out of the valley. If he could prove that Flowers and the other boars occasionally left the valley for foraging, perhaps the Valley of Fallen Leaves wasn't as dreadful as the legends depicted. Maybe they had turned it into their den, residing in the crevices during normal days and only coming out to eat when snowfall sealed the mountains. No wonder they hadn't seen any trace of Flowers and the others after the Great Flood. Yet, the snow covering the remnants at the valley's entrance was sparse that night. The thin layer of snow on the resilient leaf litter had already been disturbed by the boars, making it impossible to find tracks leading outside. On the slope below the valley's entrance, a layer of leaves covered the ground. The traces from the previous snowfall had vanished. To the right of the sloping hill, there was a flat plateau protruding about half a person's height, with a diameter of over 10 yards. Beneath it lay large bedrock, covered with a thick layer of meadow. It was an ideal campsite for pitching tents. Long years ago, the son of the Liu family landlord and Liang that had set up their tents on this plateau. Unexpectedly, a blackbird surged from the crevice in the valley, carrying leaves over 10 feet high, sweeping away the campsite. Liang sighed, walked along the slope and reached the edge of the plateau, where his hunting companions were huddled together, exchanging whispers. They said, "The wild boars have undoubtedly entered the Valley of Fallen Leaves. Once inside, they won't come out again. This time, we might return empty-handed." Liang replied, "If the mountain god has taken these wild boars as mountain patrols, ordinary folks won't dare to hunt them in the future. It's a pity we didn't see the true appearance of these boars. Otherwise, the next time we encounter them, we'd know to give them a wide berth." His companions reassured him. No need to see their true appearance. Judging by the pig hairs left by their tracks, it's undoubtedly the black and white spotted boar. You're the only one in Wahezagu Valley who spared the black and white spotted boar. They disappear without a trace once they enter. Turns out, the mountain god has taken them into the Valley of Fallen Leaves. No wonder. The group had no choice but to turn back. Just as they rounded the mountain's foot, a chaotic glow flickered across the ground ahead. The militia captain, accompanied by a few individuals carrying torches, boldly followed the tracks left by the boars and Liang, successfully locating them.